Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the Caribbean. It is Thursday evening, May 18, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what has been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. I respond to all comments and I really live for this stuff. Alright, so taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that the entire Atlantic basin is being dominated by a ridge of high pressure that's sending a lot of easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And we can also see that we have a tropical wave right there across sections of the eastern main development region, and that tropical wave is attached to the intertropical convergent zone. Taking a look at the visible satellite images before the sun went down, we can see the low-level patches of clouds moving from east to west across the main development region into the Caribbean, all courtesy of that easterly flow of winds brought about by that high-pressure ridge. We can also see the clouds associated with that tropical wave right there across the eastern main development region, right there off the western coast of Africa. And we can see that that tropical wave is attached to a lot of clouds that stretches all the way towards the northeastern sections of South America. All of that is associated with the intertropical convergent zone, where all of the winds from the northern hemisphere meets the winds from the southern hemisphere, and then we have some convergence, all of this air rising, forming clouds, showers and thunderstorms. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let's focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica. If you remember yesterday's video, we made mention that we would have had some amount of rainfall across southern Jamaica across the around the hours of about 12 to about 2 a.m. in the morning, and we were doubting the fact that this was plausible or if it could happen. And we also made mention that we would have received some amount of rainfall across sections of northern and western Jamaica during the afternoon hours. And what ended up happening? A post was made at 12:20 a.m. in the morning, highlighting the Doppler radar images bringing some amount of rainfall across sections of some southern parishes. So we had some rainfall across sections of St. Thomas, sections of St. Andrew, sections of St. Catherine, Clarendon, and even sections of southern Manchester got in on some of that light to moderate rainfall. And we even had our commenters confirming that rainfall. Bay Cookies stating, yes, Portmore just got some. Looking at our Instagram page, we can see that Deandra stated Old Harbour cooling down. Pretty Pete stating Portmore finally cooling down, so people are grateful for the rainfall. Kemarja bless you stating raining now in Central Village. Another commenter stating started in Portmore finally, and 876 Beauty stating Yallas get little rain, which is in St. Thomas. Then another post was made on our Twitter page at 4:55 p.m. highlighting some more clouds on the infrared satellite images, bringing some overcast skies, showers and even some thunderstorms in there with those sparkling white dots across where sections of northern and western parishes, just as predicted in yesterday's video. So we see that the model is actually verified, and if we actually take a look at the visible satellite images for today, we can see where we indeed had that rainfall across sections of St. Mary, St. Anne, sections of maybe Trelawney, sections of northern St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James as well. We can see the upper level clouds being streaked off from the west southwest to the east northeast when they became cumulonimbus clouds way up in the upper levels of the atmosphere, and that is what we see on the infrared satellite images, the high cold cloud tops being pushed off by that wind shear. So the low level winds are pushing the clouds from east west or east southeast to west northwest, and then when they develop in the afternoon hours and they become cumulonimbus clouds, they're being streaked off towards the east northeast. And we can also see that we still have some lingering rainfall in the Doppler radar images. Still some amount of showers right there off the coast of western Jamaica. Maybe some spotty showers still across sections of western St. Elizabeth and southern Westmoreland as well. And if we take a look at the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology's accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours, we do indeed see that we had that rainfall across especially northern Jamaica in the afternoon. Taking a look at temperatures for tonight, we can see that we have 28 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, and as usual, as the night progresses, these temperatures should be getting lower. Taking a look at the temperatures for tomorrow, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS has Jamaica embedded in some slight yellows that indicate at least 1 to maybe even 2 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. What are the average temperatures or the normal temperatures for the month of May across Jamaica? 89 degrees Fahrenheit. And when we take a look at the thermometer, that's about the equivalent of 32 degrees Celsius. And if we're going to be getting up to 2 degrees Celsius above average temperatures for tomorrow, it should be anywhere from 32 to 34 degrees Celsius at most. Taking a look at the dry air map, we can see that the driest air is represented by the reds and the whites within those reds. And then we have the least amount of dry air in the yellow. And we can see that Jamaica is embedded in some slight yellows that indicate dry air, but we still have more blues, so it's more moist air than dry air. The driest air seems to be right there off the northeastern coast of the United States, as well as the northwestern coast of Africa. Taking a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Friday, we can see the majority of the Caribbean, including Jamaica, is in the clear. The strongest or the most intense Saharan dust is right there across the main development region, as well as sections of Africa, as it should, and we hope that it stays that way for the rest of the year. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see some dark shades of blues right there across eastern and southern Jamaica, and that indicates 1.5 meter wave height. And we can see the lighter shades of blue right there across western and northern Jamaica, where we have the 0.5 to about 0 meter wave height. And that's due to the fact that we'll have the strongest winds right there across the southern sections of the island coming in from the east, anywhere from 10 to 20 knot winds at most, with the least amount of winds across northern Jamaica. But where do we have the darker shades of blues? Where would we have all of that air and cloud cover piling up, bringing or some afternoon convection? We have that across inland areas of some central and western parishes. So if we do indeed have that, we definitely will be in store for some amount of rainfall in the afternoon across the island. And if we take a look at the upper level wind shear, we still have that wind shear coming in from the west. On the Euro, it's coming in more from the west southwest. On the GFS, it's coming in more from the west northwest. Either way, we have some wind shear to receive across the island for tomorrow. And with the strongest winds coming in from the south across the island, there's a chance that more of the air will be piling up across northern Jamaica. Considering that we have more of the stronger winds of the south coast, it will be pushing most of the cloud cover into the northern sections of the island, bringing more of the rainfall across those spots. Either way, we have winds coming in from the east, and there's a chance that we might even get in on some rainfall across eastern parishes in the morning as well. Because taking a look at the precipitation forecast for tomorrow, we see consensus, we see agreement on both the Euro and the GFS models. The Euro is a bit more robust with the amount of rainfall off the eastern coast of the island, some greens and yellows in there indicating some strong rainfall. Either way, we still have some shades of blues across sections of eastern Jamaica, maybe St. Mary, Portland, St. Thomas getting in on some of that on the Euro, and the GFS is showing something similar with some shades of blues across eastern Jamaica at around 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 6 a.m. Jamaica time. So those early risers who are getting ready for work or school, ensure that you bring your rain gear so that you're not that drastically affected by that morning rainfall. Skipping ahead to a couple hours later, we see that 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time. 3 p.m. Jamaica time is showing some afternoon rainfall across sections of central and western Jamaica, especially the north coast. Look at those darker shades of blues across sections of northern Jamaica. So maybe section of St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, as well as section of western Jamaica. Look at St. Elizabeth in the darker shade of blue on the GFS. The Euro is showing something similar on both maps. I know that when we have consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Even if we take a look at the accumulated precipitation forecast by both the Euro and the GFS, we see the rainfall totals are the most across northern Jamaica on both maps, up to 0.86 of an inch of rainfall on the Euro model. The GFS, not so robust, but we see consensus on both maps. I know that when we have consensus on both maps, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. So both maps are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Friday. We're not saying that we're going to be having rainfall around the clock, but when we do get the rainfall, these are the spots that are going to be getting the most rainfall totals. And we're indeed grateful for that, considering that we're in one of the wettest months of the year. And although some areas are getting more rain than others, we are in a drought at this moment, and we'll take all the rain that we can get, even if it's in just one spot. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let's focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we still have some easterly patches of clouds moving from east to west across the main development region, coming into sections of the Caribbean. So sections of the eastern Leeward Islands, section of the Windward Islands getting in on some isolated showers, some clouds right there off the east coast of Trinidad and Tobago coming in, and we can also see a lot of clouds coming into sections of Guyana, French Guyana, Suriname right there as well. You can also see that we had some amount of afternoon convection across sections of Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, Cuba, sections of the Bahamas, and the Turks and Caicos got on some rainfall as well, not to mention sections of eastern Colombia and western Venezuela. Taking a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, we know that the satellite images show a lot of cloud cover, and sometimes it's hard to make out the rainfall. But the Doppler radar images are very much clear. The greens represent moderate or light rainfall. The yellows and the reds represent some heavy rainfall, and we do indeed see that from 1:30 p.m. today. We had some passing showers anywhere from Dominica, Guadeloupe, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Martin, Antigua and Barbuda, Anguilla getting in on some rainfall. The US and British Virgin Islands getting in on some rainfall. Look at Puerto Rico right there, especially western Puerto Rico getting in on that afternoon convection. Not to mention sections of Dominican Republic as well. Taking a look at the Barbados radar, we see a lot of rainfall, scattered showers, heat or mist showers to the north and east of the island of Barbados, not to mention to the west of there, so sections of St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, sections of maybe even Martinique getting in on some amount of rainfall as well. Taking a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we do indeed see some afternoon convection across sections of Florida, sections of Cuba, sections of Mexico, sections of maybe even Guatemala getting in on some of that rainfall. You can also see that rainfall that we mentioned on the satellite images across sections of Guyana, Suriname and French Guyana as well. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, you can still see that for majority of the eastern Caribbean we should be having average to slightly below average temperatures for 1 p.m. on a Friday, with the above normal temperatures right there across sections of the southern United States and anywhere southwards to Cuba, the Bahamas, the Turks and Caicos, Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, majority of Central America and South America getting in on those above normal temperatures, especially sections of Colombia and Venezuela. Taking a look at the Saharan dust forecast, we can only see some slight hazy weather right there dotting the coast of northern South America, so sections of Colombia, maybe the ABC Islands, section of Trinidad and Tobago. Majority of the area to the north of Trinidad and Tobago should be in the clear for 2 p.m. on Friday, anywhere west of there as well, so Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, Jamaica, Cuba. Majority of Central America should be in the clear. Majority of the dust associated with the Sahara Desert is at bay right now, right there across majority of the main development regions, eastern section, as well as sections of Africa. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see that 12 p.m. on Friday has majority of the Caribbean embedded in some dark shades of blues that are indicative of 1.5 meter wave heights or less, with the highest wave heights right there to the far south of the Caribbean, indicated by those purples, not to mention to the far east of the United States, and that's due to the fact that the strongest winds will be in those spots. The strongest winds are represented by all of those yellows, anywhere from 20 to 25 knots right there off the coast of Colombia, as well as off the eastern coast of the United States, with everywhere else getting anywhere from 10 to 20 knot winds coming in from the east. We can see that majority of the southern United States, Florida, Cuba, sections of northern Jamaica and portions of Haiti getting in on less winds at this time, so the temperatures might even feel hotter in those spots. Alright, so taking a look at the rain forecast for tomorrow, we can see even up to 1 inch of rainfall being forecasted for some of the islands of the Greater Antilles. I know that even up to 1 inch can bring some amount of isolated flash flooding, so try to take necessary precautions so that you're not that drastically affected. So we're looking at consensus. We see agreement anywhere from the Bahamas southward, so the Turks and Caicos, sections of Cuba, Hispaniola, so Dominican Republic, Haiti, sections of Jamaica just as stated earlier, Puerto Rico, US and British Virgin Islands, anywhere from Guadeloupe southward, Dominica, St. Lucia, Martinique, Sections of Barbados getting in on some rainfall as well. Look at Trinidad and Tobago, maybe eastern Trinidad getting in on some rainfall as well. Sections of Venezuela, section of Guyana, section of western Venezuela, section of Colombia, section of Panama, Costa Rica, as well as section of eastern Nicaragua. And if we take a look at the Euromal, we see something similar on both maps. I know that when we have consensus on both maps, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Even on the other maps to the western portion of the basin, we do indeed see consensus across sections of Mexico right there with all of those reds and yellows on the Euro. GF is a bit more robust than the Euromal as usual on this map. However, we can see that majority of Belize should be in the clear for rainfall, not much rainfall being predicted. However, we do see some slight rainfall right there across southern Guatemala as well as sections of northeastern Honduras. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.